Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to share the baits that I'm going to be using now that we're approaching the pre-spawn period. Water temps are slowly creeping up from our winter cold temps. We're going to start off with the smallest rod first. This one here, I got the Revelation series. It's a medium light 7.6. I use this one for fishing 8-pound fluorocarbon. And this one's paired with a 2500 Stratic by Shimano. And then for that one rod, we're gonna throw an assortment of baits on that guy because I don't like carrying too many spinning rods with me. One is gonna be this Major Craft Jig Para. This one is a 7 gram. I just threw an upgraded owner hook on there. Maybe you can see that. Just a little 7 gram Jig Para. It's going to be one for the spinning rod, and that one gets the 8 to 10 pound fluorocarbon. And this one's been a game changer for me, especially during fall and summer when they're boiling on shad. This is the Berkley Magic Swimmer 95. I don't know if you can see, but it's lacking paint. This one's just kind of like a cast retrieve. It's they come in this is a fast sink. So it allows you to burn it across the surface a lot quicker. And it won't like blow out or anything like that. And then for that rod I'll also throw the Ica, which you've seen me throw a lot. And this bait is an absolute day saver. A lot of the times when they're not eating anything else, this thing is just absolutely deadly. On a little wide gap hook. Gary Yamamoto Ica. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. People correct me all the time. That's just how we say it here in SoCal. So these are the 3 baits that I pretty much stick to this time of year. For chasing big fish, throwing a lot of stuff like this isn't as good as throwing bigger baits. But yeah, this time of year I don't like to like bust out the drop shot or anything like that too much. Just try to focus for February and March on catching a big one. Got plenty of time the rest of the year to mess around with that stuff, so it's kind of a serious time of year just to grind and get that giant. So that's why I don't have too much spinning rod stuff. Next up we got a medium heavy rod. This one's a 7.6, another Revelation series Rain Shadow. We got a Metanium on here. This one we got 15 pound fluorocarbon. Besides that 8-pound rod, I really don't rock anything less than 15 pound. I don't know. I get scared when I hook big ones on anything less. It gets sketch. This one is the same exact rod as the last one, except for this one is the heavy. Last one was the medium heavy. I pretty much kind of rotate the same baits for the most part in between those two. So I was just gonna cover the baits that I use for those rods. Throw the flutter spoon a lot. This one is a Lake Fork flutter spoon, and got upgraded hooks on there. Can't forget the little swivel on top. This one's the 4-inch. There's the other side with the paint. This thing has caught me a lot of 5 to 8 pound bass. It's like tons and tons of them. Most of the time it's on the sink too. You just see them on the meter on the fish finder and you just let it flutter down, and they usually smash it. It's been a very productive bait for me for sure. Along with the ice jig too. I forgot to bring an ice jig, but Rapala ice jig works really good. Also, Kitech and a flashy swimmer. I tend to use this on the heavy rod a little bit more often because the beast hook is so thick. I like that heavy to drive that hook in there, so it works out a bit better for me that way. This one's a 6/0 beast hook, or a 6/0 flashy swimmer. Anything less than that, the medium heavy works great, but I like the heavy for driving that hook. And that rod also has 15 pound fluorocarbon. Sometimes I'll put 17, but 15 most of the time. Now Now for the exciting stuff. We'll start on the smaller end here. This one is the Swimbait rod, the Revelation Series 710 medium heavy. I got a Corrado, what's this guy, the G7 200, 17-pound Seagar Brazex. Now that guy is gonna get baits like the 8-inch Tyrant, or like the new Hog Hunter 8.5. This one's not out yet. I'm not sure when they're gonna release this guy. I think in spring. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. But line through, hook goes inside there. Fishes very well on 17-pound. Like 17 is perfect. It's just about a ½ inch bigger than a Huddleston, but has a little bit skinnier of a profile. So it does, when you're throwing it, it does seem like you're throwing a little bit smaller of a swim bait. Honestly, when you throw a HUD seems a little bit bigger, but I like this skinny profile. A lot of those trout have the skinny profile, kind of long, especially at this size. But very neat bait. Can't wait for you guys to get your hands on some of these. I've had an absolute blast on it so far. Then we got the heavy rain shadow. Kind of wanted to go over also how I set up my reels. As you could tell, this one just has braid on it and only about half a spool, if you can see in there. So what I like to do after that is, because a Brazex is pretty expensive, it's like 35 bucks for 200 yards. So I'm gonna fill this up the rest of the way with the fluorocarbon. So I end up getting about 80 to 100 yards on top of that braid, because I don't like filling it up all the way, because half of the braid or half of the fluorocarbon, it won't even end up getting used. So you end up wasting, because I could probably put 200 yards on this thing. You end up wasting $15 worth of line. So I like to do it like this: half a spool of braid, half a spool of fluorocarbon. This guy gets the 20-pound of Brazex. And then I usually run an extra heavy, which I got right here. Just a Calcutta 400 20-pound of Brazex. Same way, half a spool of braid, rest of the way fluorocarbon. And that guy's gonna get the cool baits, like the 9.5-inch Hog Hunter. $10-inch Tyrant with the weightless beast hook. And we got 1/16 in each of these fins, and then a little bit heavier one down here, I believe. But there's 3 weights, one on each side in the fins, and one guy right here. And we also got 9-inch Nate bait. Might be a little bit bigger than 9-inch, but run it the same way. I kind of melted the belly together, closed the gap up in the middle. Weightless beast hook, nail weights inside. And we got this guy, we got the top hook Tyrant. Haven't caught one on this yet, but I've had some bites on it, as you can see right there. Soon. Actually loaded up on that bite. I don't know how. He ate it at the boat, but it is what it is. Happens. And this is one bait people forgot about for a while. Actually, this year I've seen people throwing it a bunch, but the Huddleston, I've caught my 2 biggest bass on this thing. Year in, year out, it gets plenty of bites for me. There are certain situations where fish won't look at it, or to be more specific, certain lakes, the fish just won't really look at it. It's like they want like a 10 or 12-inch bait or something super huge, and tend to be the more clear water lakes, and the ones that get the private stocks. The lakes that get the little DFG stocks, it seems like the 8-inch HUD at times can be a lot better than something a bit larger. Like a month ago, they would only touch this. I'd put this in the same spots first, wouldn't get touched, throw the HUD in there, and I almost went 3 for 3. I actually went 2 for 2 and then broke the third one off, unfortunately, but it happens. I even retied, but what can you do? More HUDs. Got the bottom hook tyrant. This one has definitely caught me the most fish. It's 10-inch. 10-inch with the bottom hook there. And so I usually run one heavy and one slow sink. Kind of do that with everything. Got one of each tyrant rigged up. Floater, slow sink, weedless, and slow sink top hook. But just by adding a nail weight, you can turn them into heavies pretty easily. And then you can't forget this. Sound like a broken record, but the Bailey rig, Paul Bailey A rig. This one doesn't have the blades. Here's one with blades. Here's one without blades. I feel like there's a time and a place for both. Just got to see what your fish want. I've actually had times where I'll throw one or the other and they won't touch it, and I'm like, man, there's no way. They're on shad, and see them on the meter actively feeding, so you feel like you should, right? It's a school of shad, so then you'll cut off whatever one wasn't getting bites and throw the other one, and then all of a sudden you're getting bites. So that's pretty interesting at times. But that's going to be my main focus as far as bait choices for this time of the year and going into just before the spawn starts. A lot of flutter spoon. If they're boiling, the magic swimmer is pretty much cheating. You know, if there's rock and shad around that rock with bass, I'm going to throw this Kitech, and this one, it really works the best when you're bumping off the bottom. Same with like the heavy HUDs. This is actually the one I was using last month. It's pretty chewed up, but got one slow sink, one heavy. It's just kind of how I like to run them. I like having all the options available, because one day they're eating it up off the top, the next day they're scared to go up there, and then they just want it literally just crawling along the bottom. So you want to be prepared for all situations. And if they're not eating any of those, throw an Ica. I actually lost one about 8 pounds on this thing last year. It jumped off and threw my Ica like that. So damn. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what I'll be using for the next 2 months. I'm not trying to keep it a secret or anything like that, because most of this big bass hunting is all about timing. So just got to put in that time. It's probably the most important thing to catching bigger bass, is just putting in the time, going as much as you can. If you get an hour during the day or 2 hours during the day, go make some casts at the lake. Can't catch them from the couch. Just plain and simple. All right, as always, thank you guys for watching, and if you find any of this information useful, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps my channel grow a ton, and I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, soon we got some more fishing videos coming up. We're just kind of waiting for some bites to die down a little bit, so we're not blowing up some spots. Be respectful. So yeah, until then, thank you.